Hey guys, welcome back to Coin Knowledge. So it's about time I do one of those other, longer form update videos that you guys seem to like when I do them. So I'm going to give you guys my opinion on where we stand in the market right now, how I would kind of be building a gaming portfolio right now. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, individual projects later on throughout this video. So if you guys are a fan of crypto gaming and kind of these longer videos, I give you, kind of giving you my opinion on where the markets are at right now, markets or projects that I'm looking at actually in my portfolio, what I'm looking at adding, what I'm not. Consider subscribing to the channel and liking the videos. Smash the like button, please. Your support means everything. So we can see here, on Bitcoin, always got to start this out looking at Bitcoin, as it kind of does dictate the market a little bit. I think last I checked, Bitcoin dominance is about 53, 54%. So, obviously we're not in a altcoin season, even though it seems like some people think that we might be, as far as like maybe earlier this year or the end of last year with the gaming pump and the AI pump. That is nothing nothing close to what we're about to see with altcoin season at all. Typically altcoin season isn't going to really even happen till, the blow off top is expected to be about 12 to 18 months after the Bitcoin halving. So looking at maybe end of 2025, similar to the last cycle, with the Bitcoin halving in May of 2020, and then with the blow off top kind of, again, that December, November of 2021. Just for comparison, if you keep hearing people talking about why they're looking at, the end of 2025, it's the 4-year cycle that we've actually managed to follow very closely. So we can see that Bitcoin right here is about, just shy of 10% down over the 1 month, following the halving. Obviously, we saw that the halving happened on the 19th of April, 2024. So as usual, we had a pre-halving dump, and then there was a bunch of political news going on with the Middle East, between different countries. So obviously that played a little bit as well. But, one thing I'm getting in my comments a lot, common question is crypto dead? Was that it? Is a bull cycle over? Well, no, it's not. Obviously it's not. If you're thinking that way, maybe crypto isn't for you. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but it really is. You cannot be emotional in this. Obviously when Bitcoin is going sideways, not doing a whole lot over the 7-day, that's the time you want to be accumulating your favorite projects. Now when they're pumping, you want to buy it when they're in the red. We've seen some pretty good dips, on a lot of quality gaming coins, which is a big sector, primary sector that we focus on this channel. Obviously, if you guys are familiar with me, my thoughts are, as with most people, that gaming and AI are going to lead the charge this cycle. Along with, maybe layer ones and DPIN could be close thirds. But again, gaming and AI for sure. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to look at some top quality gaming projects, what I'd be looking at for someone who's thinking about adding some gaming exposure, or maybe you already have some and you want some, opinions on it as well. So we'll go down the list here. Obviously for someone that gaming is not their main sector of focus, in crypto, and they're just wanting some very broad exposure, and they have high capital that they want, lower risk, maybe some higher upside. You got to go with Immutable. Immutable is essentially the Bitcoin of the gaming sector. It kind of is the indicator, again, of the whole gaming sector being one of the top coins. I think it was I think getting close to a top 20, if not a top 20 coin at one point, but now it's number 36. And I think Immutable, I've been saying this, alongside, fellow other content creators, I think Immutable X is going to be the first gaming coin to break into the top 10 tokens this bull cycle. That's what I think. We'll recircle it. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to see towards the end of this cycle, see where Immutable lands, see where all these chips fell. That's what we're doing here. If you guys have been with me, we were here all bear market. We're here during this time, not going anywhere. So, and I appreciate everyone that was here during those times. Seriously, you have no idea. So if we look here at Immutable, again, sitting at about a $3 billion market cap. We were talking about Immutable at about half a dollar to even 60 cents. So, obviously it seemed like a no-brainer because, again, when gaming picks up, Immutable is one of those first movers that picks up within the gaming sector. So I think, again, if you're looking for broad exposure, Immutable is a great option. It's very easy to buy. It's on a lot of exchanges, Coinbase, Binance, so very easy to buy. So again, for someone who wants I would consider, quote unquote, the least amount of risk to have exposure to GameFi could be Immutable X. So that's, again, where we're going to start this. And there's going to be, as we go down the list, it's going to go from, again, quote unquote, low risk to medium to higher risk as we get further down in market caps. Now, there is, you're going to notice I'm mainly talking about projects that have been out for about 6 months or older. There is a lot of newer projects that we've covered recently as we've been launching. But again, to really look at adding positions in those projects, I like to let them, as I always tell you guys, let the charts form a chart. Let them find their bottoms, let some selling pressure get relieved there before taking entries. Don't FOMO into that kind of stuff. So I'm going to leave a lot of the newer coins out of this portfolio, but we'll revisit them when I feel that, again, their charts have played out. But there is one new one that I will put in at the end as a bonus, one that I actually have started DCing into myself, and one that I am very, very bullish on, and I'll tell you why at the end. So Beam, similar to Immutable X, again, it gets you that, broad gaming exposure, and I think that Avalanche is going to have a big gaming narrative. Beam is a Merit Circle subnet on Avalanche, and at a $1.4 billion market cap. I mean, this thing climbed up to, I think, a $2 billion market cap not even that long ago. Yeah, over about a $2.25 billion market cap. I have full conviction that Beam will go to a $10 billion market cap. So right between these two, I think Immutable X could potentially go to 20 billion maybe. So we're looking at maybe about a 5x on Immutable X, and then Beam maybe about a 7 to 10x here. And, these might be conservative depending on your stance or opinion, but again, you have to realize that these higher coins, these are not going to be where you make your, 20, 30, 50, 100 X's, but the risk isn't really as high as what a project, again, at those lower market caps would be. So these projects, if you're looking for those kind of returns, you want to go on the riskier side, these projects might not be for you. But if you're trying to decide where to put, multiple 5 figures, if not 6 figures, into a project just to have exposure to a sector that you don't really know or study, these projects might be for you. And they might give you more returns than your typical Solana or Avalanche, or Bitcoin or Ethereum, obviously. But again, you have to realize what kind of investor you are, what kind of portfolio do you want, what's your risk tolerance, all that you have to take into account. But again, Beam is one that I'd be looking at for, again, that lower risk, high upside a little bit. And the next one that could be, again, in that same bucket as Immutable X and Beam, except probably the risker out of the three, is Ronin. Ronin is, I feel, on a great dip right now. I mean, we look at Ronin, how it's performed here recently. We were talking about it briefly over the bear market, kind of, the quarter three-ish of last year, around the 50 to 70 cents range. We were looking at it right in this little area as gaming was starting to pick up a little bit more narrative. And I'll be the first one to admit, early on in the bear market 2022, I kind of slept on Ronin, just because, again, I slept on it a little bit. I was looking at other stuff, other projects that if you were around, you would know. And, I missed that initial Ronin run-up. So, again, we were recovering it about 50 to 70 cents, primarily at 70 cents briefly. And this thing ran up, again, about $4.50. And, fundamentally, nothing's really changed. It's just the market is going down. And gaming has kind of lost momentum here recently, being overshadowed by AI. So, if we look at Ronin, it got up to about a $1.3 billion market cap. And Ronin is actually similar to Beam in a way where I think Ronin could get to $10 billion because it's the blockchain, from the team, I believe, behind Axie Infinity, which that got to, I think, $10 or $15 billion last bull market with a fully diluted of like $50 billion. So, they know what they're doing over there. They have quality games. I think they have the most users for a chain, more than Immutable. Immutable has a game count on them, but for daily active users, they have Axie Infinity, they have Pixels, they're adding new top quality games to their chain all the time. Ronin's easy to use, cheap fees. Ronin has a lot of stuff going for it, so I would not sleep on Ronin, and I am not sleeping on Ronin anymore, that's for sure. They're on big exchanges like Binance, Gate.io. I think they got a Coinbase listing. If not, they were going to. I feel like they got talked about, but obviously it looks like I'm wrong unless it just didn't get updated. But again, Ronin, if you're looking for a top 3 to have exposure to gaming, and again, gaming is not your primary sector, maybe it's AI, maybe it's deep in RWA, layer 1s, but you just want exposure to gaming because you think it's going to do okay, and you don't want to miss on that whole sector. Because these sectors typically will run, independently. We saw gaming run, AI didn't at the end of 2023. We saw AI run this year, gaming didn't. independently. RWA kind of had a little mini pump after AI. AI cooled off. So don't expect all your favorite sectors, gaming, AI, and deep, whatever, all to run at the same time. That's why you want to have, don't overexpose yourself, go 5, 10 projects into every sector, but to have a broad exposure to a sector that you have high conviction on is not a bad play at all. And I say this all the time with AI. Obviously, I cover gaming a lot, and gaming's my main focus, but I have, higher market cap picks and some lows for AI as well, but nowhere near what I'm invested into for gaming because I know gaming and AI. I know a little bit, but not as much, but I know AI is going to do well, so I want exposure to that sector. Perfect example. Nothing's I'm saying obviously is financial advice. I'm just letting you guys know what I'm doing, how I look at it. But if we look at MIRIA here, now we start going to like the medium risk, I would say, quote unquote, air quotations. At MIRIA, now I'm proud to say that, we were here all bear market. I told you guys since MIRIA launched, buy this thing, at a sub $5 million market cap, at a 100th of a cent or 10th of a cent, I guess I should say. Yeah. I was telling you guys, hey, this is a great accumulation zone, and we were buying MIRIA. We took profits here, kind of on the run up at the end of 2023, because, again, I was anticipating, as I think most people were, for a pre-halving dump, big corrections, because it kind of pumped prematurely, but again, that's why you always take profits because you have no idea what the future holds. This thing got up to $0.015, which is insane. I mean, that's about a 50% correction from where its local highs were. So very, very crazy. Yeah, a 60% correction. If you're looking for an entry point on MIRIA and you have conviction on this thing long term, might not be a bad time because again, we're seeing the markets dipping. We're seeing, your favorite gaming projects go down, but the quality's still there. Now, as everyone says, I think what could be considered a cautious sign of MIRIA is, they have none of their games being built in-house released yet. They've hinted at, I think their first one being released here hopefully soon this year. That's kind of a big thing. I think they're doing some weird focus on AI integration, but if they find a way to merge AI and gaming into their ecosystem as, other projects are doing and have done successfully, could be very bullish for MIRIA. But I still think MIRIA is going to do well long term. I still see it as essentially a Gala killer, comparing it to the last cycle for Gala. And Gala got up to a $5 billion market cap. So I still hold MIRIA. I did sell some, but I did not sell all my MIRIA. And I, even recently, I put a small little bit as far as a DCA position into MIRIA because, again, I think it will perform. And if you're wanting a medium risk, project, MIRIA might not be that bad. Moving on, here's a MAVIA. Now, this is actually one that I talked about in my Discord over the weekend, actually, if you were in there, which is, again, free to join. You can join my Discord. It is free to join, linked below. I called it out over the weekend when, MAVIA got to about a $95 million market cap. So, again, this dip right here, when we fell under 100 million, I felt, and I explained it in my Discord on the gaming channel, designated channel, so we have different channels in there, that, the dip was unmerited in my opinion. I mean, they just reduced their token emissions for the next, I think, 10 months by 80%. So now with the circulating supply is 12%, what would have been maybe a 2.5x in dilution from now until February 2025. Now they're only going to add, I think, 2%. So it's going to be 14% max supply circulating by February 2025. Extremely bullish. And they have their Ruby Marketplace coming out here soon, I believe May 7th, which could introduce a potential earning mechanism within the game, which we saw really blow up other games from the last cycle, like Pegaxi, Crabata, Axie Infinity, to name a few. So, again, when you see a dip like that after such bullish news, I just think it's completely unmerited, especially when we look at the last time it did that here recently with the whole, again, Middle East news. It got eaten up and went almost a 2x immediately to about 150, 160 million. So again, I brought it up in my Discord. You can go in there, find it. There's proof of it. Please join it. Ask your questions. I love, talking to you guys in there. But again, here's a MAVIA I think is going to run to $1 billion circulating market cap. Now, especially with the vesting schedule update, being a little bit more healthier, I think it will run to $1 billion. I don't see that being too far-fetched, especially when this thing, pre-bull, I mean, we have not seen anything yet, got to $300 million in market cap, so already about a third of that pre-bull. So $1 million or $1 billion, not that far-fetched, especially since they will potentially have an earning mechanism with the Ruby marketplace. Their vesting schedule has now been tweaked for the better, and I think it has the most daily active users for a mobile game in Web3 right now, and the game's fun. I have it on my phone. I play it every day. I'm grinding those rubies because I'm excited since day one. We've been talking about this way before it launched, all bear market, years ago. So I'm a big component of Heroes of Mavia. So again, and I said it in my Discord, if somebody's looking for a mid-risk, mid-cap gaming project, Heroes of Mavia, even at these evaluations, I still think is undervalued currently. And again, keyword is a mid-cap, mid-risk gaming altcoin. Again, nothing. I wouldn't be expecting a 50 to 100x here. It could. I'm not saying it can't. Anything's possible, but I would say a 10 to 20x if things get pretty crazy isn't too far-fetched in my opinion for Heroes of Mavia. But again, I think $1 billion is very achievable, but we'll see. Now we're going to start kind of getting through these a little bit quicker. I don't really try. Somehow they always end up to be about half hour long, but I don't really try to have them be that long for these longer videos, just giving you guys my opinions. But let me know if you guys like the longer form videos, and I'll just keep doing it that way. So Crown by Third Time Games, again, I've talked about this in the past. I think it's probably one of the most upper tier gambling and gaming projects on Solana. Now I know a lot of people say it's gaming only, but I kind of have always put Crown by Third Time Games really in the gambling niche, Gamblify, and with gaming. So again, it's a project that to me merges two narratives, Gamblify and GameFi, into one. It's on Solana. It's a gaming project. Again, we've seen horse racing games go pretty berserk with the last bull runs, like Zed Run, D-Race, Pegaxi, to name a few. So I would not be shocked, again, if this hits $1 billion, because, again, it's backed by the Kentucky Derby. They have their event coming up here soon this summer, I believe. So a lot of big catalysts, a lot of big influencers talk about Crown, and it actually is probably the best that we've ever seen done for a horse racing site, horse simulation, whatever you want to call it, horse betting site. I think they've done it the best, and it actually makes a lot of sense, and I can see it being a little bit more of a sustainable model than, again, something like a D-Race or a Pegaxi. So excited to see what comes from that. Now, Citus, you guys already know. I've been talking about Citus Heroes. We've made so many videos on them. I love this ecosystem. Team continues to build. I mean, they launched at the very end of the last cycle, so I wouldn't really say they've seen a bull cycle yet. They just haven't. And then, they weren't dead. I think they were slept on. Someone says to me the other day on a comment on one of those videos that it was dead forever. I wouldn't say, yes, it has a chart that would maybe indicate that it was dead, but I like to say that this project was slept on because the team was building. They were putting out updates. They were not dead. They were being slept on. So I'm going to coin that. See what I did there? Coin that that term right now instead of dead. Slept on a little bit. If the team is putting out updates, making the partnerships, everything like that. And again, we've seen here recently, Citus hit about 130 million. Again, about a 50%, roughly 40 to 50% correction from the local highs. I think Citus isn't done. I mean, now that they're using their Citus token for allocations in their launch pad, the Citus pad. Now, you guys know my opinion. I have a lot of the Senate token, actually, which is the other ecosystem governance token in their ecosystem that actually also has an integration with their launch pad. And they're rolling out more updates and utility and maybe exchange listings for their Senate token. So I believe it's sitting about a $10 to $15 million market cap right now. So I think both are going to do well. It kind of is really just what kind of risk tolerance you have in the ecosystem between one that's almost, at a 75 million versus one that's at a $10 million market cap. I think both are going to do well. So I'm very excited to see that. Games for a living. Oh, man, this is one that I see it in the comments all the time. You guys either love it or you hate it. But I still hold my games for a living. I've never sold any of my games for a living. I have high conviction in the team, in the project. We looked at their roadmap. We made several videos on them. I think that they're going to be bringing their Elemental Raiders game onto console. They have, I think, 3 other games planned, and then another one that they're going to be announcing. Their Diamond Dash game looks like a Candy Crush of sorts. So, an Elemental Raiders, I think, is a mobile or going mobile. So, again, I think games for a living, we hear it all the time. The marketing is, people say the marketing is not there. Well, of course it isn't. It was pre-halving. Now, as the market begins to turn around, I expect Games for a Living, as they've said, just to ramp up their marketing. If they don't at that point, then I'd be a little concerned, but I'm still bullish on Games for a Living. as well. And again, these are all kind of mid risks. I'll tell you when we get down to like the really high risk. Uh, almost. I mean, shrapnel is kind of a high risk. Now I'll tell you why. Because of dilution, right? So shrapnel, if we look here, granted, I would say that shrapnel is on a pretty good discount right now. If someone's been looking for an entry point, there is a potential chance that we go down to about 10 cents, but there also isn't, depending on the markets here recently, and I'll break it down. So obviously what's been killing shrapnel for a lot of people is the dilution. Their vesting schedule was horrible for the longest time, but then they actually talked to early investors and kind of like MAVIA, retweaked their dilution and their vesting schedule. So I believe it's not terrible right now. I want to say it's like a 5 to 7x in dilution around there, but don't quote me on that. I haven't looked in a very long time, but again, but when you look at a project that's down almost 50% over the 1 month, and it's still fundamentally strong. I mean, the game's still fun. It has the Avalanche Gaming narrative behind it. The game's pretty quality. It's an FPS, but my concern with Shrapnel 2 is that we have so many shooter games coming out. Like, even though they're not FPSs specifically, it's kind of in that genre. We have Bloodloop, we have Arcana, we have obviously Shrapnel, we have Citizen Conflict, we have Metados. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So I'm a little worried about that. The shooter genre getting a little diluted, but there's always going to be quality projects, and there's always going to be not as quality projects. And I think Shrapnel is kind of going to stay on one of the more upper quality FPSs in the space. So I would love to see them get more integrated with like some like esports potentially, but again, I do think a 50% correction over the 1 month isn't bad. If you're looking for an entry point, I think this could be a decent one as well. If you're looking to ride the Avalanche Gaming, hype narrative, and you have conviction in Shrapnel, but you're looking for an entry point, and this is a healthy correction. We haven't really seen it do a major correction since it kind of came out, so this is a pretty healthy correction. Actually, I wouldn't be too worried about it. But again, that's my thoughts on Shrapnel. I do like it, but we'll see what happens to it. But I would be cautious about the dilution. I would be cautious of that, as always. That's always been my stance with Shrapnel. Altura. Now, this is one that's, again, dilution, not a big deal. I mean, the token's been out several years now. It has seen a bull run, which is, I think, one of, if not besides Immutable, I think is the only token on this list that has seen a bull cycle. So that shows you how convicted I am, or high conviction I have in Altura, because I mean, this team, again, all bear market we were covering Altura. I mean, they made so many partnerships consistently. Even now, you can go on their Twitter, partnership. They make, white label NFT marketplaces for different projects like Katana Inu, for example. I think they did it for Wagme Games, I want to say, as well. They have big influencers talking about them as well. Again, they're integrated into so many projects. They were part of the Unity Verified Solutions. Again, Altura for an infrastructure play, especially at a $33 million market cap, I think it's criminally undervalued. I mean, we saw Altura get up to about 10 cents. I mean, that's over a 50% correction there. I think all-time highs are like, about 50 cents here. So I think Altura is going to hit and surpass previous all-time highs really without a doubt. And that's my opinion. But again, nothing I say is financial advice, but big fan of Altura. Again, another one that I still hold my Altura from the bear market. And if you were around during the bear market, we were buying Altura. I kid you not, at under 10 million market cap, around $5 million market cap. When Bitcoin hit about 15K, we were buying Altura. I made videos. You can find them on this channel. They're there. I'm not just blowing smoke. You guys can find them. Big proponent of Altura, and I'm very bullish on them. I see Altura. This might be Moon Boy, but I don't think so. I see Altura really hitting, 500 million to $1 billion market cap at the end of this cycle. I want to say no problem, but again, nothing is guaranteed. But their dilution, they don't really have a dilution issue. It's been out for so long. It still has a working product. They still make consistent partnerships. They're integrated into so many ecosystems. The team works hard. They've actually been rolling out an issue for the longest time was exchange listings. They're getting exchange listings. They're only adding to them. They're missing the major ones. A lot of bullish catalysts here. But, as always, let me know your guys' opinions on any of these projects. GameSwift is the next one. Now, this is one that, we're getting into higher risk for sure. I think GameSwift is going to do super well long term, but They do have a dilution issue. Granted, it is not that bad. I say this every time I talk about GameSwift. It does, irritate me when I get the comments of, but they're fully diluted. Look into the tokenomics, please, before you send those comments, and then we can talk about it. 40% of their supply is locked up, not to be touched forever. And then if you actually look at their vesting schedule from now until what comes out, by late, December 2025, the dilution is not as bad as so many influencers or content creators are telling you. Look into the tokenomics, find the vesting schedule, go on Crypto Rank, Chain Broker, look at the supply, what it's going to be by the end of 2025. You will be shocked. I'm not going to tell you. Go find it. I want you to learn these things. Crypto Rank, Chain Broker, two websites that I use for vesting schedules. If one doesn't have it, go to the other one, website-wise. So, very bullish on GameSwift. It's the only modular gaming blockchain, or at least the first mover advantage in the sector. The team is always putting out updates. They also integrate so many games into their ecosystem. They have a game launcher. They have, I believe they have their launchpad, I want to say also. I believe they're going to be doing nodes within their ecosystem, unless they said otherwise, but I believe that was part of their plan as well. But it is an infrastructure play as well. So again, very bullish on GameSwift. I think you can get pretty big returns here, bigger than what most people are telling you. A lot of people will say 5 to 10x just because of dilution. Well, it's not really as much of an issue as other gaming tokens. I guarantee other gaming tokens, even Games for a Living, might have higher dilution than GameSwift, but I'd have to look at that. Really, don't quote me to that, but I'd have to look into that. But you'd be surprised. That's what I'm saying. But GameSwift, still bullish on GameSwift. OT, and by the way, full disclosure, a lot of these projects I have in my portfolio. There's a few less than I can count on one hand here that maybe I don't have, or that I don't have currently, that I did but took profits on. And you know what? Actually, looking throughout it, I might hold a good chunk of them actually as I revisit all these. So I'm a little biased, but I'm also backing up what I'm saying. OTK. Again, I made several videos on all these projects. OTK is, if you're betting on Solana gaming on the Solana network, I think OTK is one of the most solid gaming projects at this market cap to do big returns, because the dilution, again, is not that bad. It's a mobile gaming ecosystem, so they're focusing on mobile gaming. They're on Solana. The team is doxed. You can find them on either AMAs, or you can find them through their white paper. It's not on their main website, which I think they should add that. I've said that before, but you can find them if you dig a little bit. The team is doxed. They are talking about doing more exchange listings, because right now it's only KuCoin and DEXs. So I think once exchange listings come out, this market kind of turns around. OTK never really had a big correction until now. So that's why I'm not overly worried about the price action, because it has fell over 50% from local highs, but it needed to. It had not seen a proper correction, so I'm not worried about it, honestly. And if you've been looking for an entry point into OTK, this could be it. But do your own research. Obviously, don't listen to anything I'm saying. Nothing is financial advice. I'm just telling you my opinions on what I'm doing. I hold OTK, full disclosure, and I'm very bullish on OTK, and I think this is going to actually shock a lot of people, especially if Solana does well, which I think it will. If Solana Gaming picks up, which I think it will, I think OTK is going to shock a lot of people. So, playable games. Next one. We're almost through. We got playable games. We have one more as a bonus. Then I'm going to show you guys the only newer, within less than 6 months, roughly, token launch that I'll be covering today. Otherwise, this would be a super long video. And if you guys are curious what newer projects I'm looking at, if you guys have been watching my channel, following it recently throughout all these new token launches this year in 2024, you probably know the ones that I'm the most bullish on and which ones I hold. So, if you know, you know. If not, that's in a future video. Or join the Discord and ask me. I'll give you my honest opinions. So, if we see here playable games, again, another project, similar to OTK, it hasn't seen a cycle before. It, pumped hard, and I think it did a 10x here, 10 to 15x here, and then it didn't really see a big correction, and now it definitely has seen one. I mean, we were looking here from all-time highs. It's about 80% from all-time highs, which, the project fundamentally hasn't changed. They still have their Avalanche subnet, their Bull subnet. They're on Avalanche, so they get a lot of, liquidity when Avalanche picks up, Avalanche Gaming narrative. It's a gaming hub, not just an individual game. They have their lead game, Nexus, which is actually pretty fun to play. If you haven't seen it, check out some gameplay or try it out for yourself. They do have multiple games in their ecosystem that they're going to be building out here. Everyone's always worried about the dilution. Not that bad. Everyone's always worried about the node emissions. Well, it's also isn't that bad, honestly. So, look at projects like MIRIA, Gala. They have pretty big nodes, and they still are performing or have performed like Gala in the past. So, I think Gala was like at $1 billion market cap here recently. So, again, don't let nodes scare you out of a position if you have the conviction. So, again, playable games at a sub $10 million market cap. I think this is a no-brainer if you're betting on Avalanche Gaming. And if you think, again, that gaming is going to pick up, I could see this thing ripping past a $100 million market cap really without much hesitation when gaming picks up for the next leg up. I really genuinely do think that at a playable games. Again, they have a Docs team. It's a family-owned company or run company. So, again, they made good partnerships as well. So, playable games, still very bullish on. Huh? Bad pun. Moving on. So, that's kind of, again, guys, what I'm thinking of. I just gave you about 10 to 15 tokens, starting from like kind of a higher, uh, good upside, low risk, medium risk, high upside, and then super low or super high risk, maybe some insane upside. So, and again, this video is leaving out there's newer token launches from this year, again, going 6 months and older, just to let newer projects play out a little bit, especially in this volatile market times that we're in. So, but I have made videos on other newer projects. You can find them, and if you guys want a dedicated video kind of like this, except showcasing only newer projects, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to share it with you. Now, one that I am looking at that isn't the exception that I want to talk about right now is Carrot. So, Carrot Coin, which was, again, the coin for My Pet Hooligan, the Carrot Foundation behind them. I think My Pet Hooligan, it's crazy. I actually have a gameplay video either coming up or that it's out by the time you're watching this. So if you guys are interested, you can find that on my channel. And this game's fun. It's probably one of the most fun times I've had in a Web3 game in my whole time here. Honest to God, I don't know why. The music's it's actually my favorite music in a Web3 game. I love the artwork. I love the visuals. I like the movement. The shooting is fun. The music is definitely, I like it. But again, music's really subjective. But I like the music in the game. Again, and they have, I brought it up in my gameplay video. They have, in-game like marketplace. You can buy skins. You can buy packs, just like an actual game would to help bring revenue. So the game's super fun. Just try it out. It's free. You can try it out on Epic Games. You don't need an NFT or an extraction pack or anything. You can just download it, play it, that easy. So, super fun. And at a $90 million market cap, now look, this thing did launch recently, and it shot up from 60 cents to over $1, and now it's kind of been consolidating, for a couple days here. So, it's a new token launch. It could go either way. It could rip up like MAVIA did, or it could go down like most token launches do. But either way, again, the only people that got tokens at TGE were airdrop holders, I believe, who are staking their hoolies. And other than that, everything else is on at minimum 6-month cliff for vesting to start getting vested out. And then beyond that, the vesting schedule, again, is not bad if you're looking at end of 2025 for a potential top, even early 2026. Look into it. It's merging gaming and AI. Again, one of those projects like Echelon Prime with the Peril trading card game and the Colony AI game, blending two hot narratives, and Echelon Prime sitting at about a $600 million market cap, whereas this is only at a $90 million. So definitely bullish on Carrot Coin. I have started to take a position in it myself, very small amounts, because again, it could go either way. So I am just letting this thing kind of play out, taking small positions around the 60 to 65 cent range. Really anything under 70 cents is what I'm personally doing. It could be a bad move short term if it continues going down, or it could be a great move long term, or even short term if it goes the other way. Nobody really knows what this token's going to do, but I have super high conviction in Carrot. In My Pet Hooligan, I've been talking about them for years. They've been building. The team looks great. They have great team members from Pixar, Disney. It's a fun game. Try it out. Seriously, it's free. You have no reason not to. So that's kind of it, guys. That's kind of some of the projects I'm looking at here that have, again, been around for about 6 months and prior. Again, I can't bring up every new token that's launched this year. There's been so many of them. But let me know in the comments if you guys want that kind of video, and I'll do it. And for Bitcoin, I think we go choppy a little bit here for the next, 60 to 90 days before we start seeing run-ups, as we saw last time in 2021, or sorry, in 2020. But, nobody knows really what's going to happen here. Anyone who tells you that they do, get away from them. They're lying. Nobody knows. I could tell you it's going to go to 50K tomorrow or 100K tomorrow. Both bets would be the same. I don't know. So either way, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think about these longer form videos? Do you guys get value out of them? Do you agree with any of my stances on any of these projects? Do you hold any of them? What are some other tokens that you're looking at that you have high conviction on that maybe I'm missing out on or I don't talk about? And I can do reviews on them. And if you guys are interested in what I'm doing, I have my Patreon linked below. You guys can join it to see what kind of trades I'm making. Or I have my free Discord linked below. Please join it. If you have any issues with the link, let me know. I get that question sometimes. I'm going to send you a new one, an updated link. Please join it. I love talking to you guys, answering your questions. I try to answer all you guys' comments, and I appreciate every single one of them. And otherwise, if you guys can like the video, smash the like button, please. And if you guys can comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, see you guys.